and global justice campaigner. He recently won the Irvin Prize for defending human rights against religious fundamentalism. His current campaigns include Equal Love and reforming Section 5, which was just launched yesterday, which supports freedom of speech. And he's also supported human rights defenders. He's also supported the work of human rights defenders across the globe, including countries like Iran, Zimbabwe, Pakistan, and Nigeria. So without further ado, over to Peter.
Can I just test? Can everybody hear me clearly? Because I'd rather speak without the microphone. Yep.
Yeah,
all okay?
terrific.
Great. Thank you very much. Well, it's a great honour and privilege to join you here tonight to hear these presentations, all of which have great standards of excellence. And I want to commend all 5 of them. They are inspiring, effective organisations that do really important, valuable work. They all have a proven track record, and they work in key areas of human rights and social justice, which of course are my great passions. When I look through this list, these are all organisations I'm familiar with in different ways, to different degrees. The first one, of course, is the Colombian Caravana UK Lawyers Group. A tremendously important and valuable lot of work that they do in Colombia, which we know has really, really serious major human rights problems, and where lawyers themselves, together with journalists and human rights defenders, are some of the key victims of paramilitary and extrajudicial killings, and of course repression by the state. So that work in supporting lawyers and the work that they do to defend people in Colombia is tremendously important, and it's very difficult for us to imagine just what kind of adversity lawyers face in Colombia, and never mind the adversity and threats and dangers faced by ordinary people who seek to challenge the regime or challenge social injustice. So that's a great, really important, valuable project. Bail for Immigration Detainees has been doing amazing work for many years. A long time ago, more than a decade ago, I helped set up the first group to support lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender asylum seekers, and used to work often with Bail for Immigration Detainees to support those who had been persecuted on the grounds of their sexual orientation and gender identity. So I know firsthand the really amazing, important work they do under conditions of great difficulty, with very little funding, very little support, up against a system that is rigged, and I use that word quite decidedly, rigged to prevent people getting asylum. And it is really shocking that in a democracy such as ours, the system can be so biased to make it so difficult for genuine, legitimate refugees, whatever reason they're fleeing persecution, to get a safe haven in this country. The third group is Eradicating Ecocide, designed or intended to make ecocide the 5th great crime against peace, and to challenge environmental destruction, to ensure that we can live in a world where the safety and security of the environment is recognized as part of global security, and indeed as an aspect of human rights and peace. And I always say to people who, poo-poo the environment, I say, well, what's the point of fighting for anything if you haven't got a planet in which to live and practice it? So to me, before you can even talk about human rights, we have to have a planet where people can live and survive and enjoy human rights. The fourth organisation is Reprieve, which many of you will know has done really outstanding work to not only challenge the death penalty, which it's very well known for, but also, in particular in this case, to investigate the devastating impact of CIA drone attacks in Yemen and Pakistan. The importance of ensuring accountability, knowledge, understanding of what's really happening, what's being done in the names of the people of the United States. This is really, really important work. And I've, in my own human rights work, I've done a lot of campaigning to support the people of Balochistan, which is a province of, now a province of Pakistan, which was in 1947 an independent nation, which Pakistan annexed and has occupied ever since, and where there was a low-level, dirty, secret civil war going on, where, with, I'm sad to say, with British and American funding, and including drone attacks in some instances, those people in Balochistan are being denied the right to self-determination. So Reprieve's work in challenging the impact and effect of these drone attacks, often quite indiscriminate attacks which impact on civilians, it's again a hugely important area of work. And the final and fifth group, but not last or least, is Just for Kids Law, which is about seeking to ensure that young people on the margins of society get what they're entitled to in terms of education and social services support. They've had a project in North London, and it's very successful, but right now they're having to turn young people away because they haven't got the resources and funding. And as we all know, it's a cliche, but young people are the future. If we don't safeguard our young people, we are disinvesting in the future of our society. So those are 5 really, really impressive funding presentations. And I would say that all of them absolutely deserve your support and funding. I'd just like to take a few minutes now to share with you briefly some of my own human rights perspectives and campaigns. For me, the guiding principle is that human rights are universal and indivisible. That whoever we are, wherever we live on this planet, whatever our cultural background, we are all entitled to human rights. And the human rights we expect here in Britain are also the human rights that people everywhere across the world have a right to expect as well. To me, there's no division between East and West, North and South. It's a universal principle. And that is why, for me, human rights law is such an important evolution in the development of human civilization. It really marks a stepping stone in our moves towards a more humane world and culture. And human rights law, of course, is not necessarily an entirely recent invention. If you go back in history to the great Persian ruler Darius and the Cyrus Scroll, you see elements or the embryo of human rights ideas there. If you look to India with the great ruler Ashoka, with his ideas about new nuances and embryonic ideas of human rights, we can see this has a long, long historical history. But of course, the acme in many ways was the passage in 1948 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, when the countries of the world came together to set out a set of principles